Hey everybody, Steve Petrunak here, a member of the Board of Directors of Clef, and I'm glad to be here presenting today on a topic of right hand, the use of right hand strumming techniques, and doing a bit of a deeper dive, going into a more depth into what's going on with our right hand as we're playing in a very busy pattern. Most of our energy, most of our attention when we're playing guitar goes into what we're pressing down, what we're playing, because that changes all the time. So what we have a tendency of doing with our right hand is, number one, it gets a little bit ignored. We don't spend a lot of time really listening and working on developing the right hand, which is kind of crazy because the right hand is what's responsible for the vast majority of the sound that we create. But in addition to that, we can kind of go on automatic pilot and not only not give any thought to it, but kind of get into some bad habits with the right hand that can, with a little bit of work and a little bit of attention, we can really get at it and create a better sound than what we're creating in our strumming. So we're going to take a look at the song Table of Plenty. It's Dan Schutte's piece, a very quick piece of music, scored in 3/4 time, but really more of a 6/8 feel. Dun 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 bum bum bum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. We tend to encounter pieces of music in 6/8 time that match this kind of style. However, Dan chose to score this in 3/4 time. The editors agreed. No harm, no foul. But we're going to use a pattern in our right hand, and we're going to be faced with an issue, and that is it's very easy to become kind of a machine on this piece of music, or a runaway train where the pattern never changes. We never become creative with what we're doing. We kind of just keep slamming it all the way from beginning to end. That doesn't need to happen. And if we want, we can work hard to create a completely different sound on our verses that will be no less energy, but much less overall sound. And notice I didn't say volume, I said sound. But it takes a real intentional change to our strum pattern to make this happen. So let's take a look at the piece. If we're playing the song Table of Plenty, so that strumming pattern of 1, we continue pretty much through that whole entire refrain. Till we get to the end of the refrain, we're going into the verse. So what happens in that verse? Typically, notice I'm just playing the same pattern the whole way. I'm going to keep that energy going in the verse, but instead of striking all the strings as I typically would in the strum in the refrain, I'm going to play with that same pattern. I'm going to limit my stroke to 1 string on a downstroke and 1 string on an upstroke. It'll change, it's fast, but listen to the difference in the sound. So I'm going to take it from the first ending, the T of Plenty. Here's the full strum. Do you hear the difference? Okay, so what am I doing? what I'm doing is I'm limiting, in the verses, I'm limiting my stroke to hitting one string. I'm going to slow it way down for you so that you can take a look at the right hand and see what's happening with it. Going to the bass root note, right? I'm always also coming with an upstroke. I'm kind of keeping in a down-up pattern the whole entire way through, but I'm literally only hitting one string at a time. So I don't lose any energy. The piece continues to have the energy, but much less overall sound production. Now, what I'm also doing, in order to control the strum, I am bringing much more, I'm hesitant to call it tension, but that's what it is. I'm tightening up a little more in my right hand so that I can really be in control of what strings I'm hitting. I am not thinking on an A chord, string 5, then string 2, then string 3, then string 1. I'm not getting that detailed in my thought about what I'm playing, but I am very conscious about limiting that stroke. Now I'm going to do that again, play that stroke or the refrain for you, and see if you can see my hand tightening up a bit so that the full-blown strum is much more controlled. So I'm going to go from the refrain again into the verse. Did you see how I was definitely controlling that stroke so that it was there was much more tension in my hand? It wasn't just free ripping in that full strumming chord pattern or right hand pattern. So in order to get control of this, in order to be able to make and discern or create a different sound from verse to refrain on a fast song like this, the key is to learn how to limit your stroke and hit individual strings instead of just letting the hand fly and creating basically the entire song's worth of the same sound the entire way. So takes a little bit of effort, takes some work, but definitely within everybody's reach. If you can play that full strumming pattern, you can learn how to limit that pattern so that you're hitting individual strings instead of the full strum.